About 6 years ago, I wrote a post titled The 100% Honest Truth About Fat Loss. It was met with lots of positive feedback and was by far the most popular article I'd ever written. In a nutshell, the article said a few things: that in order to lose fat, you need to hold yourself accountable with serious consequences if you fail. For example, I will lose 10 pounds in 8 weeks, or I will give my sibling $1,000 cash. But you gotta take it seriously. Sign documents. 2, at a minimum, sleep 7 hours per night. Sleep has huge impact on fat loss, or your inability to do so. If your sleep quality sucks, so will your fat loss efforts. 3, focus on eating enough protein, with the majority of your calories coming from whole, real foods. Indulge every now and then, but focus on being consistent with protein, veggies, fruits, fibrous carbs, and healthy fats. 4, strength train 3 to 4 times a week. Get strong and build muscle. If you focus on hitting performance goals, aesthetics will naturally follow. 5, perform cardio, but probably not what you think. Walk more. Hit 10,000 steps almost every day. Perform more low and medium intensity cardio compared to the high intensity stuff, especially if you strength train regularly or just deal with a lot of stress. 6, increase your non-exercise activity. Just be more active. Stand more. Take the stairs. Park further away. You get the idea. And lastly, manage your stress. High stress brings about physiological changes that are great for dealing with legitimate threats like fighting off a mugger, but very poor for fat loss. And to put my money where my mouth was, I purposely gained weight and tested my own advice over the course of 4 months. My advice worked. However, at the time I was 26 years old. I wasn't married, I didn't have any kids, no major responsibilities, and I had tons of free time. It's somewhat easy to get results under those circumstances. But now I'm 34 and life is quite different.
Go, Roman, go, Roman, go!
Now I'm a business owner, a father of 2 and a husband, and I have way more stress than I ever had before in my life and way less free time. So I wanted to redo this whole experiment and see how different the process and the results would be. So once again, I purposely gained weight to try to lose it all over again. The fat loss protocols I'll be using are still pretty much the same as written in my original article. What follows is about a 4-month fat loss journey and the insights that I gained from the whole process. Okay, full disclaimer before we get started with this video. If you clicked on this expecting me to make some kind of like insane transformation where I get down to like single-digit % body fat and I look shredded and I look like I'm ready to be on the cover of a magazine, this video is not for you. But if you are looking for a video on how to lose fat in a sustainable and maintainable way over the course of a long duration of time, aka the rest of your life, this video is probably for you. Because when it comes to fat loss, there's this break-even point between how happy do I want to be and how lean do I want to actually look. And oftentimes people don't realize how hard it is to look shredded like all those models you see on Instagram. So hopefully this video will shed a little light on how to maintain that look while still living a life that you enjoy. And please keep in mind, especially all the internet trolls out there and people who just look for trouble for no apparent reason whatsoever, the things that I do in this video may not work for you, and that's okay. Because when it comes to fat loss, there are definitely certain principles that everyone should be doing, like a calorie deficit, increasing your activity, managing your stress, getting your sleep, all that good stuff. How I did it in this video may not work for you and your lifestyle, and that's okay. But just realize there are certain principles that everyone should be doing for fat loss. But what works for me may not work for John, may not work for Mary. Just keep that in mind as you're watching this video. Okay, so let's do an overview of basically my nutritional approach for this 4-month process, because I feel like that's probably one of the biggest changes that I made over the course of the 4 months. That in addition to basically just getting more steps in, but nutrition was definitely something that I focused on big time. I definitely prioritized and focused on eating protein at every single meal, making sure I was getting enough throughout the day, 1 gram per body weight. And then as you can see, basically an overview of what a trip to Costco looks like for me. Tons of fruit. You got the berries, bananas. Greek yogurt was a staple for me throughout this whole process because of its high protein content. It's quick, it's simple, it's easy. The $5 rotisserie chicken at Costco, best bang for your buck that you can ever spend in that store. We got some cheese sticks, 7 grams of protein per stick, quick, easy, RX bars. I like these because of the ingredients. There's only like 8 ingredients and you know what they are. So it's simple, it's whole, real food. Those I like to eat before a workout or if I'm in a rush at work. Tuna, you can't beat it in terms of what it packs for protein. Protein bars, just because I work long hours where I can't really, sit down and eat anything. Portable Greek yogurt, and then potatoes. I think potatoes get a bad rep for fat loss. People think they're bad for you, but they're extremely satiating with not a lot of calories. You just have to make sure you don't drown them in butter and oil and squeezable yogurt because I got kids. But a lot of my carbs came from, high fiber sources, oatmeal, beans, potatoes, things of that nature. And healthy fats, avocados, nuts, and again, just focusing on protein at every single meal that I ate. So I'm not a vegetarian, so every meal that I sat down to, I basically said, okay, where is my dead animal and where are the vegetables or fruit to accompany it? And you can see that throughout there. So oatmeal with berries and Greek yogurt, and then a couple wraps with rotisserie chicken with some sauteed spinach and honey mustard, and protein shake, and that was pretty much the approach for the entire 4 months. And then in terms of training, you'll see it's a lot of the same stuff. I lifted weights 4 times a week, and my training consisted of squats, deadlifts, pushing, pulling, carrying heavy things, and all of the variations in between for those categories of exercises. But definitely the one thing that was different for this time around, kids. So the one thing that's differing so far about this fat loss progress compared to the first time I did it, sleep. First time I did it, slept 8 hours every single night. It was fantastic, no interruptions. Maybe occasionally a bad night's sleep for whatever reason, but this time around, we're not even 1 week in, and already dealing with disturbances in sleep. Last night my son had a fever of like 102, 103. He was up multiple times during the night, throwing up, so didn't really sleep a lot last night. So I'm sure today will be lots of fun. This morning, I would have rather licked the bottom of a dumpster than do my lift, but I did it anyway. Cut down on the intensity, on the volume. By regular standards, it was probably an easier lift, but I'm glad I did it because that's what it takes. Consistency. You're not trying to chase perfection. Day by day, a little bit. That's all you're looking for. Man, guys, this has been such a long journey to get all of these. So here's another fun aspect of this fat loss challenge that I did not have to deal with my first time around. Injuries. I strained my hamstring, and here's the frustrating part. No fucking clue what I did. Just kind of started hurting one day. I'm like racking my brain, trying to figure out like what I did, because nothing hurt during a workout. The day before it started to hurt, all I did was walk. I'm kind of chalking it up to getting old. Is this what getting old feels like? Because this sucks. I imagine this will probably impact my workouts because it hurts to literally try to touch my toes. Kind of put a damper on my leg day, I would imagine. Kind of feels like someone stuck a poorly made prison shank right into my hamstring. It doesn't feel good. So I'm kind of hoping this is a quick recovery, because it sucks. So after going through this fat loss journey process for a second time, one of the things that I thought about after the 4-month process was done was revisiting my original stance on creating a hard deadline and severe consequences if you did not actually achieve, success or results by a certain timeline. So I think given the correct circumstances and the correct individual, that method can still be extremely effective and extremely motivating. However, my whole kind of approach for this fat loss journey was sustainability, maintainability over the course of the long haul. So when the 4 months was done, could I maintain my results with ease? And I think when you give yourself a hard deadline and you want to achieve results by that deadline, you basically, apply these extreme measures in order to get there, whether it's an extremely strict diet or workouts 3 times a day, and you're, really kicking your own ass to get results. But what happens is when that deadline gets there and you get the results, it's like, yeah, okay, cool, high fives all the way around. But now going forward, there's no way that you can keep up with what you were doing in the past, just because it's too much. It's not something that can be done in the long run. So are the methods that you're using for fat loss, is it sustainable? Is it something that you can do for years on end? And I think if the answer to that question is no, you really have to revisit your whole approach, because you're going to experience yo-yo results of getting results and then gaining weight back again in the long run.
Got 5 hours of sleep last night because daughter had a fever. Just got done coaching 5 hours, 6 to 11. Pretty tired. I would love a cup of coffee. Don't want to work out at all, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Got another wonderfully shitty night's sleep, thanks to just kids not sleeping. I'd rather get kicked in the throat than do this workout, but I'm gonna do it anyway. It won't be a normal workout. I'll probably modify the intensity or switch up exercises completely, but I'm still gonna do something. Something is absolutely better than nothing. Feels like 1,000,000 pounds today. So, kind of as I said, I feel like crap today. Everything feels heavier. I get extra tired. My heart rate's super elevated when I finish a set that would normally not be. So my plan for today to keep on with my fat loss goals is to basically make sure my diet is in check, and then just try to get as much non-exercise activity as I can. So just try to get a little more steps. On days like this where you don't feel it, you're not where you should be mentally or physically, you just have to control the controllables, what you can eat and steps, because you can't control how you feel. You just got to deal with it. Take it one day at a time and stay on track. Hope tomorrow's better. So one big difference that I took away after completing this fat loss journey at age 34 compared to 26 was how I approached cardio. So when I was 26, my main goal was to get results and make sure that the finished article I put out looked fantastic and I looked fantastic in it. So I was doing a lot of sprints and a lot of higher intensity stuff because it's a great way to get results and burn fat, but only if you're recovering from it properly, which I had plenty of time to do when I was 26. But now that I'm 34, way more stress, kids keep me busy, the business keeps me busy. I didn't want to do the high intensity stuff, nor do I think I could have even recovered from it properly had I done more of it. So like exclusively what I did this time around was low intensity stuff, walking, steady state cardio, maybe some intervals, but definitely nothing on the higher intensity scale. And I think a lot of people can take that approach and apply it to their fat loss journey, especially if they're dealing with tons of stress in their everyday lives. Not everything has to be balls to the wall. So last night, put my daughter to bed. About an hour later, she wakes up crying, whimpering. It's not normal for her to do that. So we tried to let her cry it out. Didn't happen. So I went in to try to comfort her. And immediately, kind of smelled funky when I walked in there. But I'm a dumb man, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together. So I'm trying to comfort her, kind of ignoring the funky smell. And then I notice when I try to put her down to, get her to sleep, she's soaking wet. And I just figure, oh, she's sweaty. That's what it is. So I go to lay her down, and I notice that the crib itself is sweaty and wet. So I'm feeling it, groping it, touching it, smelling it, feeling it. And then I guess, I put 2 and 2 together, and she puked everywhere. And I'm sitting here rubbing it like some essential oils, trying to figure out what it is between my fingertips. Anyway, moral of the story is she puked. We had to give her a bath. She woke up an hour later. She puked. Kind of had to give her another half bath. And then she spent the rest of the night sleeping in bed with me, and she couldn't fall asleep unless she was firmly nuzzled on and in my throat, choking me. Didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Felt like shit the whole day. So, when it comes to fat loss, I did the only things I could do. Is I tried to stay as active as I could, not exercising, but just active. And I tried to hit my protein for the day. That's pretty much all you can do in times like this. Didn't feel like doing anything other than the bare minimum. So that's what I did. And I kept my diet in check. Live another day tomorrow. As long as my kids can sleep. So another thing that I noticed on this fat loss, journey versus the last one, was that I definitely didn't have a lot of time to prep food like I did when I was 26. So you can see here a grocery haul. There's a chunk of it that is frozen vegetables, frozen rotisserie chicken, and honestly, I did this for convenience sake. It was easy for me to just put frozen vegetables and frozen chicken in a big pot or pan or whatever, and just saute it up and cook it up that way. I think the idea of prepping meals on a Sunday or whatever is a fantastic tool for a lot of people, but honestly, it's very time consuming. And if you've got small kids running around, or you've got all these obligations that you need to deal with because of work or family things or whatever, prepping meals just might not be something that is in your wheelhouse. So, the nutritional content of frozen vegetables and berries is pretty similar to that of their fresh counterparts. So, one of the things that I did a lot of this time around was basically just keep frozen stuff handy and cook that. And honestly, it saved me a ton of time and a lot of headaches and a lot of stress. And it was a quick, easy way to stay with my goals to help, get some results. Those shrimp were frozen. I just cooked them up with a couple eggs. So, it doesn't have to be like you're slaving away in the kitchen to achieve these amazing fat loss results. Not at all. So don't think you have to be like a 5-star chef in order to do these things nutritionally. I don't feel like working out. Do you feel like working out?
Yeah.
You do?
But what kind of books is that? These are the same as Zergs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Zergs were little ones.
Right.
And Lex was...
Guess we're working out. And in case you guys were wondering, yes, I did get tired of taking photos of almost everything that I ate for a 4-month period. But I wanted to showcase and show you guys, protein at every single meal. Make sure you're prioritizing that, and then just trying to jazz it up in different ways from there. So, just a quick update on how things have been progressing up to this point with the fat loss, I guess, journey, challenge, whatever you want to call it, that I'm on. So I've been doing it for, I don't know, probably a little over a month now. And I've definitely noticed and seen some changes so far. But compared to last time when I did it as a, 26-year-old, with nothing to do, it's it's a lot harder this time around. My daughter timed up the start of this perfectly with some sort of sleep regression. There was like a 3-week period where she was waking up at, I don't know, she wasn't sleeping, and neither was I. And I'll tell you, when you don't sleep, your motivation to do a lot of things straight down. And it's been no different for me. I haven't wanted to work out, go for walks, do cardio. I haven't wanted to do any of it. And if you're wondering why the camera's so shaky, it's because I'm walking as I'm doing this. But I've been doing it anyway, because that's what fat loss takes. It's showing up and doing the things you don't want to do, and doing them anyway. And that's pretty much been the last 35 days. So to everyone out there who's wondering what the magic pill is, the secret to success, that's pretty much it. It's consistency. And there's going to be stretch periods where you definitely do not want to do it. And it's going to be the easier decision just to sit down, veg out, watch some Netflix, but you can't do it. So the one thing this past month has kind of shown me, and the thing that I guess I've been working on, is my priorities, is the things that are important to me. I've been prioritizing them, and then just time management, making sure that I'm getting done the things that need to get done because they're important to me. So there have been days where I've been tired, sleep deprived, didn't want to do, go for a walk on my lunch break, or didn't want to lift weights. And I much would have rather just laid down or, watch TV, or just kind of vegged out, scrolled on my phone mindlessly, just because I needed a break. But I know what I'm trying to do, what is important to me. And I did it anyway. And honestly, that's what it's going to take for a lot of you guys out there who are struggling to see the type of success that you want to. I think this is a very large part of it. Now, am I seeing success as fast as I did the first time I did this around? No, definitely not. But I'm okay with that, because everything that I'm doing is for the long haul. I want my methods to be sustainable in the long term. If I can't keep up what I'm doing for months and years to come, chances are I'll probably regress. And I don't want to do that. So I'm okay with a slower rate of progress, because I know if I keep this up, so will my results. So let's see how things go in the next month.
So my daughter's finally sleeping better, and I gotta say, when you finally start sleeping, it makes a world's difference. So if your sleep is not on point right now and you're trying to lose fat, get it situated. But now I'm currently dealing with some phantom shoulder pain. No clue where it came from, but it for a few days, it hurt to raise my arm above my head. I feel something. Doesn't feel good. I have no idea what I did. Now, I think the general recommendation when you have pain like that is to stop working out and rest. But I'm here to tell you that's not what you do. You find something that you can do that's pain-free, and you do that. And maybe you even do that modification at a reduced volume or intensity. An injury does not mean you stop training. It means you work within your trainable menu and you do certain movements and exercises that don't cause pain, and you still get after it.
So one of the things after looking back on the 4-month, I guess, journey for this whole fat loss thing was this whole notion of outcomes versus process. And I think too many people, when they set out on a fat loss journey and they have this weight loss goal, they are totally fixated on the outcome, and they're not spending enough time refining the process and making sure they have systems in place in order to achieve their goals. And systems are basically set behaviors, habits, and actions that you do on a consistent daily basis in order to get results. And if you don't have good systems in place, with regards to your sleep, your stress management, your exercise, your daily activity, your cardio workouts, you are going to struggle. So my advice to you, if you're trying to lose fat, get some systems in place and stick to them and stop hyperfixating on the goal.
So it's been a while since I gave any sort of update, I guess, on the fat loss journey that I'm on. And I've been listening to a few podcasts, reading, and it got me kind of thinking. For the past couple weeks, I've essentially just been going through the motions, so to speak. I've been consistent, but going through the motions. I'm still doing what I need to get done. But the motivation to do it a lot of the times is not there. And I think it's a common misconception among a lot of, I guess, non-fitness folk out there who think people who work out regularly, eat healthy regularly, are active regularly, are motivated to do it all the time. And it's not the case. The people who do this stuff consistently, I can promise you, they're totally not motivated to do this on a consistent basis. Some days they absolutely do not feel like doing it. There's been a handful of days where, I've been there too, and I don't want to work out, and I would rather eat something that tastes amazing. But, I don't. You stick to it. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that it's not motivation that keeps these people on track. It's discipline. And I think there's a big difference. So if you're in that boat and you think I just can't get motivated to do something, and I can't stay motivated to do something for a long time to see any sort of results, you have to reframe how you're going about things. It's not about getting and staying motivated. It's about being disciplined enough to do the things that need to get done so that you can get motivated once you actually start to see results. So just realize there's a difference between being motivated and being disciplined. And I think once you kind of get that, you'll be in a much better place to see success long term.
Another thing that I think a lot of people need to realize when it comes to fat loss is that the compound effects of your bad habits are going to accumulate a lot faster than the compound effects of your good habits. It's just like when you would take a test in school and you'd bomb it and you'd get a 52. It would drop your grade down to a C, and then it would take 8 straight 100s on your test to get you back to a B minus. And you're what the hell? Why is it that way? And it's just so much easier for things to snowball out of control when you're letting kind of like these bad habits pile up. And I think that's where a lot of people fall into, get into trouble, is it's the accumulation of these kind of small bad changes that just creep up on you, and then one day you're just like, man, what the hell happened? So you really have to be careful and get those systems in place for those good habits.
So driving to work right now, it is, what's today? May 24th. So I started this whole process of losing fat, documenting it, I guess early March. So March, April, and it's pretty much the end of May right now. And I am now just starting to fully appreciate and actually notice the results coming through. And it's not to say that they haven't been coming in month 1 and month 2, but I tell this to clients all the time, where I'm like, you see yourself every single day. It's going to take you a lot longer to notice fat loss changes than someone else, because it's like watching grass grow. If you sit there and watch grass grow, you are not going to notice a difference in length between hour 1, hour 2, hour 10. But that doesn't mean it's not happening. So don't get discouraged when the results aren't popping up overnight. It's gonna take time. You just need to stay patient, and you need to stay consistent. And don't get discouraged when things aren't moving as fast as you'd like to. Okay? Progress is still happening, just not at an alarming rate.
And for what it's worth, take this little nugget of wisdom with you. Self-talk and your mindset and literally how you speak regarding fat loss and the factors surrounding it make a huge difference. And there's lots of evidence to back this up. So saying things like, I don't instead of I can't, and I get to instead of I have to, it really makes a big difference, and it can shift your mindset and really make a big impact on your results.
So here I am in my house, walking with a weighted vest, just getting a little bit of steps in. The weighted vest just makes it a little bit harder, adds a teeny strength component to it. Whatever, it's been one of the more enjoyable exercises that I've found during this whole process. But I don't know, it's mid-June right now, so we're kind of close to kind of wrapping up this whole process. And I've come to the realization that I really stopped recording a lot of the stuff that I was doing, because it was literally the same exact thing over and over and over and over. And I was like, this video is gonna suck, because it's just a lot of the same thing repeated day in and day out for months at a time. But that is what sustainable fat loss is. All these videos you see on Instagram of, the extreme measures of doing this and pushing yourself, and like, it's sexy, it creates engagement, creates likes and shares, but the real results are made by doing the boring stuff really well and repeatedly. And that's the God's honest truth. So I hope this video doesn't suck of me doing the same thing over and over and over and over. But I just need to drill that point home, that that's what a lot of you guys out there need. Consistency, patience, and just be really good at the fundamentals.
And kind of going off of that, my focus this time around was definitely a little bit different than last time. I wanted to make sure that this time, in my basically mid-30s, that the results that I got from my efforts from this 4-month kind of bout of actively trying to lose fat was going to be something that I could maintain, and that the methods that I use to do so would be something that I could continue to do for quite literally years into the future. Because I've come to the realization that no matter what you do for health, whether it's eating, sleeping, stress management, strength training, cardio workouts, it doesn't matter. If it is not sustainable for months and years, the chances of you maintaining that intensity and progress for the long term, it's not going to happen. You're going to shoot yourself in the foot, and you're going to find yourself kind of going into that yo-yo progress where you see a ton of results and then you fall off the bandwagon, and you see a ton of results and then you fall off the bandwagon. So that was my main focus this time around. But where does that leave you? So if you're finished watching this video and you're wondering where to start and you're just kind of overwhelmed by, you know, this is all great, but I have so many things to fix and I just don't know where to begin in order to kind of get my fat loss progress started off the right way, I'll say this to you. Find the lowest hanging fruit. And what I mean by that is find the one thing that's going to be easiest for you to fix. Is that your sleep? Is that your diet? Do you think you can start going for a daily walk? Do you think you should start lifting some weights? Do you think you should start prioritizing stress management more appropriately? Identify one of those categories and then find one thing within that category to fix. And that's going to be the best way to start. If you've never read a book called Atomic Habits, I highly, highly recommend it because it's so transferable over to fat loss and health in general. But find your lowest hanging fruit and attack it until it becomes basically habit and you don't have to think about it anymore. And then you can move on to the next thing. And then you slowly build. And if you kind of haven't seen it already, that's kind of the common theme and approach I took for this whole thing, is a long-term approach. So that would be my advice to you on how to get started with your fat loss. All right, so I just wanted to finish the video with maybe some things that I didn't touch on during the video, maybe some like nuanced details that I glossed over or didn't mention at all. So when it comes to your specific fat loss, if you're a numbers person and you're actually looking for a numeric value to set for yourself in order to lose fat, because you know calorie deficit's gonna be an important factor in this whole thing, take the number 12, multiply it by your goal body weight, and that gives you a ballpark number on what to shoot for in terms of calories on a given day. Is that a perfect number? No. Will some people have a lower or higher number? Yes. Is it a good starting point though? I think so. From there, take your goal body weight, and that's how many grams of protein that you want to strive for on any given day. Again, it's a ballpark figure. Don't attack me for this. Now, me personally, did I count calories or track my macros or my protein or my fiber intake? No. I find it extremely tedious, and I would rather lick a cheese grater than track those things meticulously. Now, do I have an idea of how many calories I'm eating and how many grams of protein I'm taking in on a daily basis? Yeah, of course. But don't think you have to track religiously in order to see results. Become familiar with portion sizes, how many grams of protein are in X, Y, and Z when you're actually eating them. Did I drink alcohol during this entire thing? Nope, not a drinker. Does that mean you have to give up alcohol? Nope. Again, just make sure that your calories stay within that range that I just gave you, and you're gonna be good to go. Do you need to strength train 4 times a week like I did in order to see results? No. Should you strongly consider strength training at least 2 times a week to see results? Yes. How much cardio did I actually perform during this 4-month period? If we're talking about cardio workouts that are not walking, honestly, not a ton. I did maybe 1 to 2 a week. That's about it. I did, however, take 1 to 2 20-ish minute walks almost every single day. So if you want to classify that as a cardio workout, go for it. I don't really think of it as a cardio workout. I just think of it as a walk. Did I still eat all the delicious foods that I enjoy and indulge and sometimes overindulge? Yeah, I did. There's a lot of pictures that I did not include of foods that are probably not on the pre-approved fat loss list. But again, as long as your calories are in check and you're eating enough protein, you can still eat those foods. Was I in a calorie deficit every single day of this 4-month challenge? Hell no. Personally, I think it works a lot better when you track a deficit over the course of a week rather than every single day. This gives you a little bit of flexibility to maybe overeat a little bit on the weekends and then cut back maybe on Monday and Tuesday or whatever days work for you. I think from a mental and psychological standpoint, that works a lot better for a lot of people. And like I said in the very beginning of this video, there are a few principles that everyone needs to apply in order to see fat loss. Calorie deficit, get your sleep, get your steps, strength train, manage your stress. But how you apply these principles is going to be totally dependent on your preferences, your personality, your lifestyle, your work, your social obligations, your family, your friends, all sorts of things. So remember, you've got those big principles. How do you apply them to your life so that you can see fat loss? I think that's the big takeaway point here, because if they're not methods that you can do in the long run for months and years to come, I hate to say it, but I really think you're gonna end up in that kind of yo-yo result where you see results because you're doing great and then you lose motivation because you can't keep it up over the long run. Don't fall into that trap. And again, make sure fat loss is worth it in the end for you. Sure, there are certain ranges for males and females that are considered healthy, but if dropping to like 10% body fat for a guy really leaves him overly stressed and it's robbing him of some of the social activities that he used to do, and he's really just not enjoying life anymore, is it worth it? Because unless you're getting paid for it, to be on a magazine or something like that, no one gives a shit if you have visible abs. No one. You think anyone watching this video cares if I got a full six-pack by the end of it? I mean, probably not, but it's okay. I'm happy with that. And you should be happy with it too. Keep that in mind when you're trying to lose fat. And of course, if you have any questions, reach out to me. Go to my website at gritfitnessandperformance.com. Shoot us an email. Slide into our DMs. Ask us questions. We want to help you. I want to help you. But anyway, enough of that rant. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any questions or leave a comment down below.